A new church, only 10 years old in 1972. A new pastor, with a vision of a ministry that would serve the community and bring the congregation together in mission. In 1971, Don Maple was assigned to be the new pastor at Lovely Lane. He wanted to start a Christian preschool, and when he presented his idea to the church leadership, there was no shortage of support and volunteers willing to help his vision become a reality. The new preschool began in 1972 in the Lovely Lane Church building. The first preschool director was Arletta Carr. Pastor Maple wrote the curriculum, which emphasized positive self-worth and affirmation, as well as learning the numbers 1 through 5, identifying colors, and cultivating a 4-minute listening span. Looking back, we can imagine the excitement and the challenges of starting this new endeavor. The church building in 1972 was less than half of its current size. The current worship center did not exist. Worship was held in the current fellowship hall, and preschool was held there too. The numerous Christian preschools of today did not exist in the early 1970s. Lovely Lane was one of the very first in Cedar Rapids. It quickly became a resource for the community. Partnerships with Grantwood AEA started that first year, and Lovely Lane was equipped to serve children with physical and learning disabilities. From its beginning, the preschool program focused on outreach. In Cedar Rapids in the early 1970s, there were several private secular preschools, but they were financially out of reach for many families. At Lovely Lane, families paid tuition according to what they could afford based on their income. Most of the children who needed scholarships lived in the southwest and northwest parts of town, so church members volunteered to drive those children to and from Lovely Lane. But this was the 1970s, and gas shortages and high prices were the order of the day. Some enterprising church leaders decided that it would be more cost-effective to take the preschool to the children, rather than drive the children to the preschool. In 1975, the first site of the outreach preschool, as it was called, was at Lane United Methodist Church. The following year, in 1976, the church decided to purchase a large 100-year-old house at 317 F Avenue Northwest downtown, just across the river from Quaker Oats. The house was remodeled and maintained by church members and housed both the outreach preschool and Lovely Lane's intern pastors. The outreach preschool was located in the big old house on F Avenue from 1976 to 1996. The first director of the outreach preschool was Don Nyland, who remembers working on the F Avenue house that first year, getting a classroom ready on a shoestring budget. Where would they get some storage closets, she wondered. "Let's try praying for it," said one of the intern pastors. Lo and behold, the next day, someone brought over some storage cabinets. "Could you use these?" God provides. The two preschools, at Lovely Lane and at F Avenue, shared a symbiotic relationship, each one finding its purpose in the other. The outreach preschool, where almost all children relied on a scholarship, was possible because of support from church members and income generated by the preschool at Lovely Lane, where most of the children did not need a scholarship. And the members of Lovely Lane Church and others in the neighborhood volunteered at both preschool programs, carrying out a mission that brought them into the community and into the lives of their neighbors. Those church volunteers, teachers, and program directors touched many, many lives in the Cedar Rapids community. The work they did affected their lives in meaningful ways too, often becoming a touchstone for careers dedicated to early childhood. There have been so many people who have had a meaningful impact. People like Mary Abbey, Bill Allison, Lois Blankenship, Gary and Marge Davis, Jean Chilikowski, Kay Rath, Kim Unkridge, Judy Schatz, Jan Peterson, Pat Stucker, Jackie Koch, Isel Logan, Alice Tiffin, Myrna Lorline, Kathy Hall, Shar O, Sue Kirkland, Stacy Funke, Becky Wood, Kathy Weber, and Jackie Schmidt. One staff member in particular who has been a blessing to the program is Paula Pfeiffer. Paula is CWM's longest continual employee. She started working at the Outreach Preschool program soon after it opened in the late 1970s. Although she has had opportunities over the years to get a job with the school district or other early childhood center, she chose not to take them because of the joy she finds working with children in a Christian preschool program, where she can share her faith in God, where she can teach children to pray, where every year she can rediscover God's creation through the eyes of a child. In 1996, the Outreach Preschool moved out of that big old house on F Avenue. Although well loved for its homey and intimate feel, it was getting too expensive for the church to maintain. The house was sold, and the Outreach Preschool moved to classrooms in Trinity United Methodist Church, where it was renamed Trinity Lane Preschool and remains to this day, directed by the talented and dedicated Sue Wolf, who has worked for Children's Weekday Ministries since 1986. About 1990, the church was approached by the YWCA about hosting a before and after school program for Pierce Elementary School. The YWCA had started a series of programs in elementary schools all over Cedar Rapids, including Pierce. But at Pierce, they were quickly running out of room. Would Lovely Lane consider letting the YWCA use their church building to host the program? Pastor Paul Aiken asked the church, and the church said yes. A few years later, the church took over administration of the program from the YWCA, and it was integrated into the preschool program. At first, it was called the Latchkey Program, then Extended Day. But in time, it became known as BASE, which stands for Before and After School Enrichment. And so, by 1992, there were 3 programs: a preschool at Lovely Lane, an outreach preschool at Trinity UMC, and a school-age before and after school program at Lovely Lane. The entire program needed a name that encompassed the mission of all 3 programs, which was, at its core, ministering to the needs of God's children in our community. The name chosen in 1993 was Children's Weekday Ministries. Which brings us to the present day. Last year, Children's Weekday Ministries enrolled over 200 children in its 3 programs. Thanks to the generous support of Lovely Lane and Trinity, over $10,000 in scholarships were provided to children in need. Our current director, Carolyn Barnes, although only on the job for 2 years, has a special historical perspective. Her children attended preschool at Lovely Lane in the 1980s. And for many years, she was a kindergarten teacher next door at Pierce Elementary. Many children who attended the preschool at Lovely Lane ended up in her classroom, and she saw firsthand the excellent education they received. Under her leadership, CWM continues to serve our community and to partner with our schools. For 40 years of Lovely Lane's history, Children's Weekday Ministries has been a significant way that the people of Lovely Lane have responded to the needs of children and families in our community. Happy 50th anniversary, Lovely Lane, and happy 40th anniversary, Children's Weekday Ministries.